Alright, so the Premier League is back this week and match day 11 is on. There's some huge matches coming up at the top and the bottom of the table. So as always here on the footballchronicle.com, guys, let's go into the 5 biggest matches of this weekend. The 5 matches that I'm looking forward to watching the most this weekend. So there's no early kickoff, there's no Friday night kickoff this week. We start with the Saturday 3 o'clockers and there's a really big one down at Molineux as Wolverhampton Wanderers take on Southampton. This is a massive game at the bottom of the table. Southampton recently picking up their first win of the Premier League season against Everton last weekend. Wolves coming in within inches of getting their first victory when they played against Crystal Palace at home last week as well. Wolves are one of just a few sides at the bottom of the table that are winless. Southampton, though, have been far from solid, and in truth they came very close to not winning that game against Everton at St Mary's last weekend. So how do I think this is going to go? Well, I think given the intensity of these two sides, the lack of defensive solidity of these two sides, there's going to be goals, and I'm going to sit on the fence. I am going to go with a 2-2 draw. I feel like Southampton's kind of win last time will inspire them a bit. Wolves, they've got some confidence, of course, but still no victory this season, and both of their fans are apparently calling this the El Sacico. If whoever loses this match will be sacked, but we'll have to see how that ends up, of course. Moving on, let's head to the South Coast for the late kickoff on Saturday. Brighton and Hove Albion against Manchester City. Brighton getting very close to getting a result at Anfield last week, which was no mean feat at all. Manchester City, they're having a bit of a wobble. 3 losses in a row. First loss in the Premier League season this season. They lost pretty humiliating against Sporting Lisbon as well, and they're out of the Carabao Cup now as well after losing against Spurs. So they need a win. They need a win. But will they get a win? I think they will get a win. I think they'll win, to be honest. I think it'll be quite narrow, though. It's going to be a good game between these two sides. I'm going to go with an entertaining game. I'm going to go with a 3-2 victory for the Citizens, but I can easily see Brighton getting a result out of this one. They've been very impressive so far this season. Hurtsler doing an excellent job with the Seagulls. Next up, let's head over to an even later kickoff, an 8 p.m. kickoff, an absolute stinker for the Aston Villa fans to actually attend as they go up to Anfield. I mean, there's worse places to be fair, on a Saturday night, but a very late game for sure, especially this time of year. We're rather cold, you'd think, at that point. But yeah, Liverpool playing against Villa. Villa getting their first loss in the Champions League against Club Brugge. They played really poorly in truth as well. They fully deserved their loss, even though it was a controversial penalty that was given against them, of course. Bear in mind when it wasn't really controversial, it was pretty obvious that was a penalty. Liverpool, meanwhile, they are absolutely flying, top of the Premier League, top of the Champions League. They're coming into this one with a lot of confidence, and I'm expecting them to see it through, in fairness. Whoever they stick up front, whether it's Luis Diaz or Mohamed Salah or Cody Gakpo or Darwin Nunez, doesn't really matter. They have a lot of attacking prowess, and I think they'll just have too much for Villa. I'm going to go with a 2-0 win for the Reds in this one. Next up, we're going to head to the Midlands for the first of the Sunday matches. A 2 p.m. kickoff. Nottingham Forest against Newcastle United. Forest are all the way up in 3rd position in this in the table at the moment. I've already done a video going in depth about how well they're doing and whether they can keep it going. And Newcastle, meanwhile, they're kind of threatening to do better, to be fair. They've not had a good season on the whole. Of course, did manage to beat Arsenal the other week, which was very handy for them indeed. I think this is going to be a really tough game for both sides, so I feel like Newcastle maybe come into this one in a slightly better form. I'm going to sit on the fence. Forest have had a lot of draws this season. I don't think Newcastle have enough to beat them, but I'm going to go for let's make it entertaining, Desmond, 2-2 in this match. And the final of the matches, of course, it's the late kickoff on Sunday afternoon. It is Chelsea against Arsenal. Chelsea coming off an 8-0 victory in the Conference League against Noah from Armenia as they sank their arc. I have to use that every time I get the chance because I'm not going to have many chances to use that pun this season. Arsenal are desperate for a win. They really need a win. If they don't win this week, and both Liverpool and Man City get a victory, which I think will happen, I think they'll probably get wins, Arsenal will be under a lot of pressure coming into this one. They've got some players. I mean, maybe Odegaard will come back, maybe he won't. This is a really difficult game for them. They don't travel particularly well over the years to Stamford Bridge. They don't win very often at this ground in the modern era of the Premier League. So what do I think is going to happen with this one? Well, you know what? Just to make things interesting at the top of the table, I'm going to go with an Arsenal victory. I'm going to go tight. I'm going to go my favourite scoreline, 2-1. But to be honest, the form book and everything does favour Chelsea. I would say they are rightfully the favourites coming to this one. But I've got a funny feeling that Arsenal will finally turn it around, because if they don't, I think the title race could well be over. But yeah, those are my thoughts on the 5 most important games this weekend in the Premier League, in my opinion, of course. Which games are you looking out for this week? Let us know in the comments below. And of course, keep it subscribed to thefootballchronicle.com to see much more football content on the way, just like this. Like, share, comment, subscribe, ring the bell as well. And we'll see you soon, guys. Have a good weekend.